our bodies are set up to store fat around our center of mass, which is the belly, love handles, and hips. There's a very good reason for this. Storing pounds of fat on more distal areas like your hands and your feet would require a lot more energy to carry around and to do the things that we need to do on a daily basis to survive. And this defeats the whole biological purpose of storing fat. To begin with, which is essentially your body trying to stock up on energy in the form of body fat in case of a future famine, where there's a shortage of food, or in other words, a shortage of energy in sports like wrestling and judo. We can see that our center of mass gives us the leverage we need to carry heavyweight loads without expending a ton of energy. Your body already knows this. So that's why one of the first areas to gain fat when you overeat is your belly. Unfortunately, even though your body is wired to view this as very efficient, not only the stomach area is affected. The last spot that most people want to gain fat, but it's also very unhealthy to carry large amounts of fat around your midsection now. Even though your body is quick to store fat around your stomach, it's very hesitant to let it go. And it will usually be one of the last spots that it pulls fat from. So you need to reduce your overall body fat percentage low enough to allow your body to burn the fat everywhere else before it starts pulling energy from the fat stored around your midsection. This is done mostly through diet. So a lot of people follow a strict diet, which becomes more and more difficult the longer you try to stick to it. So today, I want to give you guys 14 quick guidelines that you could use to start burning fat and belly fat as soon as possible without having to torture yourself. In the process, the very first extremely effective thing that you can do is limit the amount of, number 1, high sugar foods that you eat. Sugar doesn't just taste good in the moment. When you eat things like cookies often, it also makes you want more sugar. By eating ice cream and cake, you make your taste buds less sensitive, which makes natural sources of sugar, like fruit, taste less sweet and fulfilling. There are also studies that show a link between eating a lot of sugar and having more belly fat. This is because sugar spikes insulin, which is a hormone that stores fat and makes insulin less sensitive. This doesn't mean you can't ever eat sweets, though you can treat yourself to something like ice cream at the end of the week. But it shouldn't be a regular part of your diet. Instead, you should try to stick to fruit to satisfy your sweet tooth. When you go grocery shopping, you should try to stick to the outside perimeter and avoid the inner aisles as much as possible. This includes the produce section, seafood, meat, eggs, and some dairy products. This is because the inner aisles are usually where you'll find all the processed food that ends up raising your insulin levels, increasing your daily calorie count, and contributing to the storage of fat around your stomach. However, other than high sugar cereals, chips, and cookies, there are some things in the inner aisles like rice, quinoa, and nuts that can actually fill you up and help you lose body fat. So when you do go into the inner aisles, keep this in mind. A perfect example of this is comparing Oreos to something like broccoli. Just one Oreo will have 40 calories, mostly in the form of sugar. For the same number of calories, you can fill your stomach with a whole cup of broccoli, on top of the fact that single-ingredient foods require more calories to digest. The Oreo will quickly and easily be broken down into simple sugar without much effort. Number 2, the broccoli will need more energy to be broken down, reducing the net number of calories that you ultimately take in. We can see this again and again when comparing many other foods, such as white bread to brown rice, for example. So generally, a great rule of thumb is to stick to whole, unprocessed, single-ingredient foods that either have a short shelf life, are frozen, or need to be boiled in order to be eaten. Next, you want to watch out for added sugar, even on the outside perimeter of your grocery store. Number 3, you'll notice things that appear to be healthy, like smoothies and juices, when in reality they're only going to help you store body fat and not lose it. That's because when you take a closer look at these foods and beverages that are marketed as healthy, you'll see that they're full of a ton of ingredients to help preserve the product, and especially full of added sugar to make them more palatable. If you want something like a natural smoothie, you're much better off making it fresh on your own by simply throwing in some fruits, vegetables, and water into a blender. Not only is this nutritious, but it will actually help you drink more water throughout the day, which is actually number 4, the next tip to drink more water now. The majority of people trying to burn fat think that water can be used to enhance weight loss and fat loss, so they try to drink tons of water throughout the day. Many of these same people will still continue heavily snacking throughout the day on high sugar fat foods, like trail mix, but they'll still make sure that they get their 8-ounce glasses of water in for the day. The truth is that there is no magical property of water that significantly enhances fat loss. It will slightly speed up your metabolism, but this will only save you around 50 calories per day, and maybe closer to 100 if you only drink cold water. However, sticking exclusively to only drinking water is a great tip for those of you that have juices and sodas throughout the day, because this can save you from consuming literally hundreds of extra calories in the form of sugar. Water is also one of the healthiest drinks you can drink because it helps your body absorb nutrients from the food you eat. Number 5, if your protein intake is low, you should increase it right away because studies have shown that protein helps you feel full and less hungry. Another benefit that we get from fat loss is that protein requires significantly more energy to digest than carbs and fat, so it will increase your metabolism if you have a higher protein diet, sometimes helping you burn even hundreds of extra calories per day. On top of that, it's also great for building muscle. However, eating too much protein won't necessarily give you any extra benefits. According to the research, maximum muscle building effects are achieved around 0.7 to 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So even though having more than that won't necessarily hurt your fat loss efforts, it could make your nutrition plan more difficult to stick to. Number 6, I recommend sticking to around 8 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day, and having the rest of your calories in the form of carbs or fat. If you don't know how many calories you should be having per day, you can use the macro calculator link in the description below. Like I mentioned earlier, before you're able to burn belly fat, it's going to take some time for your body to first burn off fat from other places. So you need to be consistent for some time before you start seeing the stubborn belly fat decrease. Number 7, to stay consistent, it's very important that you follow the next simple rule. Make healthy food taste great. Any plan that makes you eat things you don't like or cook them in a bland way is doomed to fall. Number 8, don't be afraid to use a lot of olive oil, herbs, and spices to make your food taste great. Being the kind of person who only puts 1 drop of oil on the pan may save you some calories in the short term, but in the long run, it will lead to a binge and failure, just like making healthy food taste great. Number 9, the next tip is to let yourself an occasional cheat meal, but only after you've filled up. You can do this before you go to a restaurant or before you have a cheat meal at home. If you have a small, high-protein, high-vegetable meal before eating the things you're craving, it'll help take the edge off your hunger and save you a lot of calories without you having to use much willpower. Number 10, next, don't drink too much alcohol. Since fat is broken down in the liver, you want your liver to be free to break down fat instead of being busy eating alcohol, which is exactly what happens when you drink too much. Your body slows down the breakdown of fat so it can get rid of the alcohol first. Some alcoholic drinks can also make it harder to lose weight. For example, drinking too much beer or wine can add as much sugar to your diet as drinking soda. If you're going to drink, stick to vodka, rum, and tequila, which don't have any added flavors. Also, if you want to make a mixed drink or use a chase, make sure to use a calorie-free drink. Number 11, the next tip is to eat more soluble fiber because it helps reduce hunger. It does this by slowing down the digestion of the food that you eat, making you feel fuller for longer. Good sources of soluble fiber include oats, avocados, and Brussels sprouts. Weight training in particular will help you burn more calories and build more muscle, which will speed up your metabolism and make your body more sensitive to insulin, which is great for fat loss. Weight training will also deplete your glycogen stores, which means you'll have more room to eat carbs because your body will need those carbs to replenish the glycogen in your muscles and liver instead of your fat cells. Number 12, make sure you get enough sleep. Sleep is important for your muscles to recover, and when you rest and sleep, your muscles grow. Getting enough sleep helps balance your hormones. If you don't get enough sleep, your cortisol levels will go up and your testosterone levels will go down, which will cause you to gain fat and lose muscle. Get at least 6 to 7 hours of sleep every night to make sure your body is ready for fat loss and muscle growth. Number 13, once your diet and weightlifting are in order, you can add a high-intensity interval training to boost fat loss. This should only be done when you hit a plateau and your diet and weightlifting aren't enough. Burpees, squat jumps, and rope slumps are all full body workouts that will get your heart rate up. The goal is to work as hard as you can for 45 to 60 seconds, then take 30 to 60 seconds off, and then do it all over again for 15 minutes. These full body aerobic workouts are a great way to burn a lot of calories in a short amount of time without losing muscle. Number 14, the last tip for today is to set up your diet so that you eat less without feeling hungry or starving. For some of you, this may mean that you fast for most of the day and eat a few big meals. Intermittent fasting is a great way to lose weight without having to eat all day or limit the size of your meals. The only downside is that you have to go at least 16 hours a day without eating, so it won't work for everyone. Some people may do much better by eating small meals throughout the day to control their hunger. Remember that the number of meals you eat per day doesn't really matter. By doing these simple things, you will be able to stick to a healthy eating plan for longer, which will help you use the fat around your stomach over time. I really hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon. And don't forget to leave a comment if you have any messages or comments in the box below. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.